Hello, everyone, and welcome back to taking a very unserious topic very seriously. That topic is Dance Dance Revolution. Now, if you don't know what DDR is, you're likely under the age of 20 years old or have never been in an arcade before. It's a rhythm game where you must press panels with your feet that match up with the corresponding arrows shown on the screen. And that's it. That's the whole game. I figure most people watching, you probably already know what DDR is, but if you don't, you will very quickly find out what it isn't. If my childhood was defined by 3 games, they would be World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy X, and Dance Dance Revolution. I started playing DDR at the age of 13, maybe 12, when I first saw it in a Toys R Us, rest in peace, unless they're alive again, because I think they might have gotten revived. I had my mom buy me one of those super thin plastic mats that could have replaced a slip and slide. It was that slippery and unsafe, but it's all I had access to way back in 2001 or whenever it was when I got the thing. That being said, most of the time, if I wanted to play DDR, I would have my mom drop me off at the local arcade, which had 4 machines at one point. It had DDR 5th Mix, Max, Max 2, and Extreme, aka 6th, 7th, and 8th Mix. I think like one of each, which at the time were the newest models of machine available. And I very quickly learned how to play at a pretty high level. Nothing that would get me anywhere in, the top level competitions or anything like that, but enough to gain the respect of my DDR peers and enough to make anyone who didn't know anything about DDR think that I was God if they saw me play. This footage right here is from 2002. This might be some of the earliest footage I have recorded of myself doing anything in my entire life. I was playing like this at age 12. I'm not even 13 yet in this video. So I told you all of that to indicate to you that I am qualified to talk about what we are about to discuss. I love DDR, and I'm pretty good at it. But you know who isn't good at DDR? Almost everyone who has ever attempted to portray it on television or in a movie. I had someone ask me if I had seen anyone playing DDR in TV or movies or anything like that, and I'd seen a couple, but I also figured that it didn't really appear that often in media, if like pretty much ever. And so I asked people if they had seen more examples of it in TV or movies, and I was actually surprised at how many examples people were able to give me. So I thought it would be fun to react to them as someone who knows how to play pretty well. Now, I'm not here to critique the fact that an actor assigned to a DDR machine in some kind of a scene doesn't know how to play it at even a basic level, right? Especially if the script calls for someone to be an expert. It takes a very long time to even get decent at DDR, so I don't expect someone to train for what might amount to like a half a day of shooting or something like that for something that doesn't really matter that much. But surely, at some point, you would think someone out there would show someone on a dance pad and actually playing it, right? So let's take a look at some clips before I start yapping about DDR for another 20 minutes. And I'm going to rank all of them 1 through 10. And we'll see what the most accurate representation of DDR that I was able to find is. The first clip I want to show is the one that I think of whenever I think of like DDR in a TV show or a movie, and it is from the movie Grandma's Boy from the mid-2000s, a movie that is still somewhat near and dear to my heart. It's about video game development and all that kind of stuff. And in this particular scene, Nick Swartzen is challenged to DDR by someone in the office. I guess they got a new machine. I don't remember the exact context of them having this machine, but they got a machine and he's being challenged. So let's take a look at the clip first, and then I'll give some kind of commentary. What I'm about to say might surprise you, but I think this is one of the most accurate representations of DDR in TV and movies, top 5, potentially top 3 that I have seen. Let's take it from the beginning. First of all, The screen is showing actual DDR. This is not some like made up thing. Like it is, that's what DDR looks like. The arrows, all that lines up, the scoreboard, everything. So great start. He's playing on not a DDR pad that you would find in an arcade. Like you'll see what one actually looks like from an arcade machine. This is some sort of like custom rig. It's like maybe running off of an Xbox or something like that. I don't even remember if they made DDR for Xbox. Maybe they did. I know they did for PS1 and PS2. But it's all connected, right? It might not be regulation, but it is a dance pad. To cap it all off, I do legitimately think that this person is actually playing what is being displayed on the screen. Like, I think this footage is actually this actor playing the game. And the reason I'm going to say that is because all of his movements actually line up with what's showing up on screen. A lot of the other examples that we're going to see, we never really ever get a shot like this, where you can see the screen, the actor's feet at the same time, right? It's very rare to see those clips. And as we can see, these arrows are going to start coming up the screen. We start with 2 up arrows, 2 down arrows, and he goes up, up, down, down. He's going with the pace of the song. I don't know what song it actually is, but it's somewhat of a slow song. His feet the entire time are going with the rhythm and the pace of the song that's being shown on the screen. I would say that this person is absolutely still an amateur. They are doing some, beginner level things where they want to leave their feet in the middle or maybe come back to the middle once they are done pressing a button. This person's playing on a song that actually has enough movement that you can't really bring your foot back to middle. So he has to keep moving. But normally, if I was doing this, I would have my left foot on the up arrow and my right foot on the down arrow and just alternate between my feet, right? As opposed to having one leg do all of the work. Besides that, I don't know what's going on with the arm movements. He's just kind of looking like an asshole, but that's kind of his character, I guess. No one would ever really be dancing like this. You don't do that on a DDR machine. You could try to flex on somebody by spinning around like he does here, but it's done in a somewhat realistic way because he knows he's got to get back to the screen to look at what the next notes are coming up. And then even the finale note, I can tell it's a left and a right arrow at the same time. And he lands super, super early. And I can tell by this little thing right here, it's really, really small, but when you play DDR, each note is ranked on a certain scale from perfect timing to you completely missed it. And the purple word is the word boo, which is the second worst timing that you can get. And as we can see, his timing is really not good on this. He lands well before the note, but it's still close enough that the game gives him a little bit of credit. So I legit think I gotta give this a 9 out of 10. I do think that this is this guy is actually playing this song in this moment. And the only reason I don't give it a 10 out of 10 is because he's doing some weird asshole stuff with his hands and actually dancing, which you would never really do. But for the purposes of the movie and his character and this scene and all that, I guess it's, within reason. It's not that outlandish. That would be the only reason I don't give it a 10 out of 10. And then Nick Swardson steps up to bat. As we can see, there's a lot of arrows on the screen already. And this is what you probably see more of whenever you're seeing DDR in a TV show or a movie. Just absolute nonsense, not playing along, spinning in circles, doing shit like that. Just making no sense, not even lining up at all. This is probably, some footage that they took earlier and they just played it on the screen. This is more along the lines of a 1 out of 10. I'm giving it a 1 out of 10 because at least they're on some kind of a dance pad. But it's Nick Swardson. I'm not going to hold it against him, right? This is his character in the movie. Next up, we have a clip from the show The Big Bang Theory. I have never watched an episode of The Big Bang Theory in my life. I only know one character's name, and it's Sheldon, and it's not the person on the dance pad. Where can we give some points? This is the kind of dance pad that you might find in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. I think this is a very representative product of its time. I don't know exactly when this episode aired. I think it is season 1 episode 2. So I guess right at the very beginning. So let's take a look at the clip. Okay, that's all we get. We never get a shot of the TV. And I'm also like not listening to it in the moment. But the reason why I don't think this person is actually playing this game is because of what they're doing with their feet. So a lot of beginners, like I said earlier, like to come back to the middle of the pad because that's neutral to them. Like that's a neutral state of being. When in reality, you should be leaving your feet on the arrows because the game is not going to register a bunch of different hits because your foot is on the button. It only registers a hit when you actually stomp down on the pad, or there is some sort of a hold note that you need to hold. There is in like no world where you're ever like bringing your feet to the side and then up and then to the side again. Like, I mean, those moves exist, but you wouldn't be bringing your feet to the middle. And nor do I think someone playing at like such a lower level would be able to do something like that, like pretty consistently. I think this move just looks impressive to people who don't know anything about DDR, but the middle pad is nothing. It's not a button at all. It's just a neutral state. Overall, I'd probably give this about a 4 out of 5 or a 4 out of 10 because we can't see the TV at all. We don't really know what he's seeing, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Next up, we have the movie Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen with Lindsay Lohan. Now, they're playing on some sort of a knockoff thing called Dance Slam, and sometimes TV shows and movies, they want to show something like DDR, but they don't. I don't know if it's like a rights issue where they have to talk to Konami about the ability to show DDR in their thing or like whatever it is. So a lot of the time, you know, they just kind of come up with their own random arcade replacement. And this thing is like a hell of a replacement. It is way bigger than a DDR machine. We have these like much bigger dance pads. We have 2 monitors here, but they're not even really looking at these monitors. They're looking at monitors that are like way out in front of them on like giant screens and like projectors and all this kind of stuff. There is some sort of gameplay element going on in the background where you can see like some notes coming up from the bottom of the screen. Why it's tucked away in the corner like that, I'm not really sure. You know, I don't know why it wouldn't just be in the middle. But here, I'll let a little bit of this play out and you can kind of see what I'm talking about.
Daddy already has VIP seats, but that's not the best part. I didn't think it would be. There's gonna be an awesome party afterwards at Stu's Loft for all of Siddhartha's closest friends. So I've heard. And guess who already has an invitation?
So there is some sort of an effort every once in a while to like show them stepping on the dance pad, but most of the other things that are happening is like actual dancing, which again, you don't really do. There are actors like on the actual screens, like doing some dance moves, but like I'm looking at it and I'm not really seeing any sort of like a scoring mechanism for it. So they're just actually dancing. And whether or not they're actually lining up with the things that are being shown on the monitor, I think the big giveaway is right at the end of that clip there, where you can see some notes going on the left-hand side of the screen. And she just gets up on the bar and just like kicks her legs up. There's notes flying on the screen, not matching up with literally anything at all. So overall, I'd probably give this like a 2 or a 3. At least they tried to show something, and there is some sort of choreograph, and there is some sort of like rhythm with the song that's actually going on. But is it like as bad as Nick Swardson in Grandma's Boy? Like, maybe yes, but in a different way. Yeah, it's probably a 2 out of 10. Next up, we have a clip from the Nickelodeon show Drake and Josh. This is a very, very short one, and we don't really get too much context outside of this particular clip. Again, we're doing a lot more of the actual dancing. Like, Just Dance would have gone crazy in the early to mid to late 2000s and early 2010s when there were, I guess, a plethora of these instances. Josh Peck, right? Josh Peck goes for like this spin move, steps completely on the metal part of the pad. Like, there's no button here. He just completely misses. There's a lot of other missing that happens on with some of the other characters as well. So yeah, low rating. I will say, like, this dance pad does look a little weird because there are some corner arrows. I've seen stuff like this before, so I'm not going to take away like too many points for it. But overall, I think it's pretty much on par with Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, something like that. It's looking like a 2, maybe a 3. At least they have an actual like DDR-ish pad that they are playing on. But without more context, I'm not buying this either. Next up, we have a clip from Malcolm in the Middle, where Hal, I assume, becomes obsessed. Maybe it's like the subplot of this episode or the main plot of the episode. He becomes obsessed with a DDR-esque arcade machine. It's not exactly DDR. Again, maybe a branding licensing issue. I'm not really sure. And I understand, like, Hal is a silly character, and this is a very silly show. But how accurate is this to DDR? If you look at the gameplay going on the screen, it's just like the Nintendo 64 C buttons showing randomly up on the screen. There's no like rhyme or reason to anything that's happening. There's like what appears to be some animated baby perhaps in the background. I don't really know what's going on there. But yeah, there's no like way to tell what's about to happen, when it's about to happen. And you know, Hal is like not even looking at the screen a lot of the time, and he's just kind of randomly shuffling his feet, and also with the dancing and the spinning. So yeah, not out of character for the show or for the character, but in terms of accuracy, this has to probably be probably about a 1 out of 10, maybe even like a 0.5, because there's something worse. Next up, we have a clip from the movie The Karate Kid from 2010, something like that. There's so much happening here that I kind of want to break it down piece by piece, because I think if I just let the whole clip play, we'll just all explode from embarrassment. So let's start the clip here. So we're on this machine called the G Move, which is some sort of a DDR spin-off. They have just something here. Maybe this is actually a real thing. Like, I don't know where exactly they are. This could be a real machine because it does look very arcadey and like DDR-ish. It does look like something that you could find in an arcade. Why the screen is so tiny when they have like all this space behind them? Maybe this stuff is not on the machine itself, or it's on something else like over here in the background. I don't really know. So the girl picks a song, some song in the list, I can't really tell, and turns it up to super difficult, or like the highest difficulty, and is like, all right, you get on the machine there, you got your little instrument, put that down and go play the DDR machine. Jaden Smith then proceeds to just dance in between both of the dance pads, not looking at the screen at all. We can see that there's actual arrows going up this screen, like there is some sort of a gameplay type thing happening in the background. But instead, Jaden Smith just like dances at the girl, doing some, I'm not going to like critique the dancing itself. I don't know anything about dancing. I only know DDR dancing. And that wasn't it. No attempt to look at the screen, just dancing in between the two pads. Now he's like, oh, no, it's your turn. Now you got to go dance. She does the exact same thing. She starts as if like, oh, she's actually going to play the game on the screen here, and then starts doing actual dancing, whatever the hell she's doing. And then from this moment on, basically never looks at the screen again, and instead just dances at Jaden Smith. 0 out of 10. No actual attempt to even play the machine. Just a lot of dancing in front of each other. 0. Next up, we have a clip from the movie Diary of a Wimpy Kid, where they are going into some sort of an arcade on at some carnival ground or something like that. And I will say, like, besides these starting dance moves, which does seem like it has some amount of choreography to it, we're on an actual DDR machine, DDR Supernova 2. This is a real DDR machine. They are at least jumping and moving to the rhythm of like something that seems like it's kind of close to the song that's playing, but that's really all I can give them. I also don't think that they're hitting the buttons that are corresponding with what's showing up on screen whatsoever. Yeah, so as we can see, there's a note that's up, the up arrow and the down arrow, and it says perfect, and their feet are just in the middle of the pad because they have probably choreographed some sort of dance where they're just dancing on the machine and not actually playing the machine. They're doing a lot of these dance moves and all this kind of stuff. I mean, again, that's an actual pad, and at least their feet are moving close to something that resembles maybe some DDR-esque song. Then they're switching sides. You don't switch sides when you're playing against somebody else, or maybe you're doing some sort of cooperative thing, which I think used to exist. There's no switching sides. The only time that you would switch sides is when you're playing doubles mode, which is one person using both of the pads. That is very much a real thing. I love to do that. I feel like I have to give this yet another 2 out of 10 because at least they have the machine, and at least there's maybe something vaguely close to something like DDR being played here. 2. Next up, we have a clip from the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey movies. I grew up on Jim Carrey movies. JC in your house might mean Jesus Christ. In my house, it means Jim Carrey. That being said, I don't know how much we're really doing here. We are on an actual DDR machine. We are on DDR Supernova. So we have a real machine here. That being said, we're in a bar or some sort of bar and restaurant type place. Maybe there's an arcade somewhere around here because if I could find yeah, we got something here that looks like the word fun with a gun, and there's lasers coming out of it or something like that, like Funland or something. So maybe it's also an arcade, but just they spontaneously have a DDR machine in the middle of the restaurant, which is just kind of weird. You wouldn't really put a DDR machine here, but we do have an actual machine. And we do have Jim Carrey trying to do something. Absolutely no rhythm happening here whatsoever. It is just random button pushes. Nothing that would say that it's any sort of realistic DDR playing. The notes are coming up kind of fast. I do think they're probably spaced out with some sort of a modifier that you can do on the machine. Or maybe they're just not, and this is just a fast song. But there's a lot of extra button presses. I can kind of tell by his movement back and forth. He's also incredibly drunk. Incredibly drunk. So that's also not really helping the case, but they're also showing him hit every single note, which is just not happening. I don't know. Is it the worst thing I think we've seen today? No. Is it the best? Definitely not. I'd be willing to at least go 3.5, maybe 4 out of 10. It's it's unrealistic, but it's a realistic unrealistic, if that makes any amount of sense whatsoever. Next up, we have a Taco Bell ad from 2017 that my editor happened to remember being a thing. Now, funnily enough, this Taco Bell ad features a not one-time, but two-time DDR world champion. This person right here, online handle, I am Chris for life. He has won multiple DDR competitions. He's also in the Guinness Book of World Records for some Guitar Hero stuff very early in the day when Guitar Hero was popping off. This person knows rhythm games.
I am Chris for life is going for the DDR World Records. Here we go.
It does look like they are playing, and for this person to not hit, I feel like they're probably hitting full combos more often than they're not. The feet movement might look a little weird to some people, but a lot of these higher end players actually play closer to the edge of the pad. And I think that's so they don't have to move their feet as much, because a lot of these songs in the upper brackets require you to move really, really fast. And these smaller movements do add up over time. The spin move stuff, I think that's just kind of for camera. You would never really do that unless you're trying to show off. And it's a little tough to tell if they are actually playing along with the song because there are so many cuts. This person is more than capable of playing the hardest songs imaginable in the game. I mean, I don't know what they're doing nowadays, but back then I know they totally could. So I don't know if Chris, if you happen to watch this video, I would love to know more about this commercial. But whether or not they were actually playing along, I'm not sure. I still need to give this very high levels of score though. I'm going 7 or 8 out of 10 at the least. But just, there's too many chops to see are they actually playing what's on the screen? That's where I want to get those like extra, those last couple of points. Next, we have a clip from The Office. This is not DDR, but it is a thing that exists. It's called Pump It Up. And instead of using up, down, left, right, they are using the corners, and they have a button in the middle of the pad. So they have 5 buttons to hit as opposed to DDR's 4. Now, we're only going to get like a few frames to determine how accurate this really is. So we're going to take a look at the pattern that's currently on screen, because that's going to help us figure out whether or not they're actually trying to play along. We have a bunch of up, left, and up, right arrows, right, left, right, left, right. Then we have both of them at the same time. We have a middle press, another up, right, what looks like to be a down, left, another middle, and then an up, left. So I'm going to let this clip play, and we'll take a look real quick to see, are they trying to dance along, or are they just smashing random buttons? That's all we got. And I got to give it to them. It does look like they are trying to match what is happening on the screen, right? If we rewind, the camera whips as they're going through these upper arrows, right? And where are their feet? They are on the upper arrows. We know a middle button is about to be pressed as well. Middle button. Both their feet come to the middle, and they're trying to hit that middle button. From what happens there, very tough to tell. We don't really see their legs at all. But they at least look like they are trying to dance along with whatever was on the screen, at least at that exact moment. Now, would I be holding hands while trying to do this? No. That doesn't seem like the most safe thing in the world. I'd probably be holding onto the bar behind me if I was going really, really fast, because that's what it's for. It's for stability. I think I need to give this like a pretty high amount of points. I think I probably need to go like 7, maybe even 8 out of 10. We just don't have a lot to go on. But in the short instance that we do, it's like, I mean, it's close, man. It's close. Next, a clip from the movie Scott Pilgrim versus the World. We are not playing DDR on this one either. We are playing Ninja Revolution, where it looks like there are 2 buttons to press and then some sort of an action thing. I guess maybe like the game has some sort of a camera that can look at the people to see if they're doing the right hand motion or whatever they need to be doing. And I gotta say, after looking at this clip as well, it looks fairly representative. Their feet were moving like a little fast there, but like that could just be maybe sort of like, hey, this pattern means move your feet pretty quickly. We don't have an exact like 1-to-1 to go off of. But then even here, they're going at like the pace of what is kind of being shown on the screen, right? The pace of the steps kind of matches up with their feet movement. They're also doing like hand gestures when it says to do some sort of a hand gesture. That kind of lined up right there. I do think this is them, like, I don't know if this is like an actual real thing that they were able to make for the movie, but it does look like they are actually legitimately playing the game. Even right there was like some sort of arrow, and then like one of the characters turned. Maybe it was some sort of a dodge you had to do or something like that. I gotta give them some serious points here for a made up game. I gotta go like 8 or a 9 out of 10. This was like good. Next, we have a clip from Video Game High School right here on YouTube from, I don't even know how long ago it was. It was a long time ago, brother. Starts off well. We are on an actual DDR machine. I'm not sure the context of what's happening here. It appears to be some sort of a maybe competition or rivalry. There's a girl involved. We have, again, like that was an actual pad. This is an actual machine, right? Like this is like what the paneling looks like on a DDR machine. But what they're actually showing on the screen is not exactly DDR. It's close, right? They have like sort of a general shape of like the arrow and like the color spacing within the arrows and all this kind of stuff. Although another thing about DDR is all the arrows are colored based on what kind of a note they are. So like all the quarter notes are labeled as one specific color, and then eighth notes are a different color, and then 16th notes or triplets or 32nd notes. Like those are all different colors to help you kind of see like, oh, what's the pace that I should be moving at? Here, all the arrows are like all different colors, but they're all quarter notes. So it's just all over the place. You're not really sure like what notes they're supposed to be. You can only kind of tell by the spacing. But And also this clip's like a little weird because there's like also a race going on in the background. They're like on some sort of a track. But yeah, lot of feet movement for like not that much happening on the screen. They could be playing with whatever was actually on the screen at the time if it wasn't just like a completely black screen, or maybe they turned it green so they can key it out a lot easier later. But there is a lot of feet movement. A lot of feet movement for like not that many notes appearing on the screen. He's like whiffing all these notes and he's jumping up and down. It's just, I give it a 3. I give it a 3 out of 10. It is, they tried, but for a show named Video Game High School, I'll admit, I was expecting a little bit more. Next up, we have a movie called The FP from 2011. I'm going to read the opening thing on Wikipedia because the odds are you haven't heard of this. I definitely hadn't heard of it. What is The FP? The FP is a 2011 American comedy film. The film focuses on two gangs, the 248 and the 245, fighting for control of Fraser Park, the FP. The gangs settle their disputes by playing Beat Beat Revelation, a video game similar to Dance Dance Revolution, etc., etc. So the whole premise of the movie is that they settle their fights and their debates and like whatever with DDR. So you would think a movie based around this premise would have pretty realistic DDR-esque, or sorry, BBR-esque gameplay. You know, the screen is like somewhat close to like what DDR is, right? The arrows are a little weird. But like it's relatively close. So, okay, I'll give you some points. And we got some pads here as well, similar to the ones. I mean, I think these might be the exact ones that we saw on Drake and Josh. That being said, my man, what is going on with the boots? These boots are terrible for trying to play DDR. They are massive. Your accuracy is going to be terrible. Why these boots? These are so not good. Okay. So besides that, again, we have this issue with like the notes where they're just like all different colors when they should be certain types of colors depending on what kind of note they are. But even still, a lot of the movement of the characters is kind of not exactly matching what's happening on the screen. They're doing like constant moving. It is constant moving. But I'm seeing like some 2-note hits in there. I'm seeing some spaces where it's not going that fast. And they are just running. They're just running as fast as they can. And again, these boots are just such a terrible idea. Bro, you're in a gang that settles their disputes with DDR. And you're wearing boots that are 3 times. Do you want to lose, man? It's like a 4 out of 10. And I'm being really nice. Does it even deserve a 4? Do we have more footage? This is like one of the only clips I feel like we kind of get some sort of... Did he die? Is he dead? There's no way he's dead. Okay, that looked like him. Okay. But yeah, even here, like you can't really get a good look at the screen. Here we go. Yeah, it's tough to determine. It is very tough to determine. I think I'm still going with like a 4 or 5, but like if anyone worked on this movie, I would love to have a chat. I would love to know what it was like, how accurate the stuff was, all that. I would love to know. So, what did we learn from this besides nothing? Not a lot of accurate DDR representation out there in the world. Some people at least get the machine correct. There's a couple of instances where it looks like people are actually accurate as to what is happening on the screen. A lot of clips where it at least looks like they're trying to dance in the way that one would, but I know you can do better out there, Hollywood. There's also a very good chance that there's some clips out there of actually accurate playing. And if you know them, I would love to be notified in the comments. Like, please let me know other examples of DDR out there. Like, I need some redemption. Also, I volunteer, Hollywood. I volunteer. If you have a scene that requires someone to play actual DDR and not like look like an idiot, please contact my agent. I'll do it for free, okay? I'll do it for the good of the dozen of DDR fans still left out there. Or better yet, maybe you just go to Just Dance instead and you want to have people dance and you do that and we just call it a day. Okay? Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.